Okay, hello everybody. We're really delighted to be invited to this conference. We don't get to travel from coast to coast that often. So forgive my bad English. Like I said, I don't need to have a really great English, just a little bit better than my colleagues. Um, so if there's any questions about some pronunciation, don't hesitate. Et pour la conférence en français, c'est au 5 à 7 après. I said for the French part, it's at drinks after the conference. Real quickly, today we're going to do an overview about EPR rollout in Quebec and the transition to circular economy practices in that framework, and then challenges and next steps. Yeah?
You're on time. You made it.
You're good. Yeah, no, I'll do it. I'll do it.
He's got it.
Snooze or dismiss. There you go. Technologically capable. All right. So, whoop, now it doesn't want. There you go. So basically, like Monica said, RECYC-QUÉBEC is a state corporation under the Ministry of Environment, something that BC doesn't have. That's an interesting difference. Basically, RECYC-QUÉBEC was started with the biggest tire fire in the history of the province in 1992 or 3, I think. And so since that, we still have that stewardship program inside RECYC-QUÉBEC, but then we are also responsible to encourage Quebec to reduce, recycle, reuse, recycle, and recover residual materials in a circular economy perspective. And like we often mentioned in the previous talks, our specific responsibilities and powers that we have, the famous carrot and the stick. So we do the whole reporting process of the pros, the recognition and individual programs, because that's also a possibility in Quebec. And we also have financial programs and counseling and other types of involvement to promote with carrots, different kinds. Just an overview of the framework, legal and administrative framework. RECYC-QUÉBEC basically applies different types of acts and regulation, like you can see on the left side. The important part about this history is that the Environmental Quality Act has been setting the policies for most residual program obligations and framework. It was built upon with policies in the 90s, the Sustainable Development Act in the early 2000s, and throughout of the Climate Change Action Plan, which is more recent. EPR regulations insert into those. The first EPR programs in Quebec date from 2001, 2004 for paints and oils, and they were built upon until the most recent regulation review in 2022. So the RRP is the 9 specific products. We're going to go over them after. But then the PPP and the beverage containers are transitioning towards EPR since 2022. And I'm going to also talk about the Planned Obsolescence and Repairability Acts, which has got a lot of attention and still early in development, but we're going to go through that after. The real question is, now that we're in the full transition towards EPR and circular economy, what are ICI and consumers, what will they do? Will they change their habits, or will they continue going into a linear type of economy? So just for the more visual people, there's a timeline of the different pros that are active and recognized in Quebec by RECYC-QUÉBEC. Paints were the first one and were built upon. In 2011, a lot of products were added. Most of them are similar to BC. BC is more prolific. I'll be humble and recognize that BC has been designating a lot of products more than us, but still we're trying to keep up. In 2024 and 2023, the 3 new products were agricultural products, pressurized fuel containers, and pharmaceutical products. These were in the specific regulation for the 9 types of products. But the big transition also is beverage container refund system and the curbside recycling managed by Consigne Action and Éco-Entreprise-Québec on the top right. Their obligation started in 2023 and 2025, and then 2027 there are steps for different types of material. Like I said, for now in 2025, plastics and metals and aluminum are targeted, and glass is coming online in 2027. So with all these three big EPR systems, there are key obligations that are similar with all of them with the Quebec model. So you have them here. I won't go through every one of them, but the important part is, and that comes back to the previous discussion, are the mandatory minimum recovery rates. There's also a reclamation rate or recycling rates for beverage containers and PPPs. We're going to go through them after. Set up a free recovery structure, respect the hierarchy of the 5 R's. We say 3 RVs, translation issues. Promote local product management, implement reuse criteria, and then produce awareness, promote research and development. So every year they have an obligation to do that. Report annually to RECYC-QUÉBEC, and then publish the program performance annually. So that's a lot of information in one slide. I won't go through everything, but just looking into it. So these are the 9 legacy, I would say, programs of EPR, not in the order of their designation, but still you have the definitions of the products that are targeted under those big categories. What's interesting is that we have annual recovery rates, but no reclamation rates. So no recycling rate for those products. We only want the programs to, well, for now, we only want the programs to recover, collect a bunch of products. Because there are basically the heterogeneity, the differences between those kinds of products necessitate a large effort of methodology and discovering and establishing the recycling rates that are applicable. So it's a long-term project. We're on it, but not for now. So these are the recovery rates for these products. When we talk about the beverage container refund system target rates, so these have annual recovery rates, but also reclamation rates. Like you can see in the first column, the second column, the first year where they go into effect has been reported, has been pushed back to 2028 for most of them. 2026 so this one, the beverage container refund system rates, for some material comes into effect later, but most of them starts this year. And the reclamation rate is basically applicable from the first year. We have also local reclamation rates. These are basically the same types of objectives or targets, but targeting specific regional states near Quebec, Ontario counts, Atlantic provinces, some northern, eastern US states. But the goal is to have local product management to reduce GHGs and stimulate the market. What's interesting, I'll just come back to this one, the annual recovery rates. There's 2 ways that we use the stick with those mandatory recovery rates. So there's the typical penalty mechanism where you have in most environmental legislation where contravention to an element of the regulation can be sanctioned with a penalty. But the recovery rates is another type of way that we can put financial penalties to the programs to encourage, to bonify the recovery and the performance. So the recovery rates works with a bonus-malus system where if you reach the recovery rate, you can accumulate surpluses. And if you don't reach them, you can use those surpluses in the next up to 5 years later to compensate your lack of performance so that you don't pay a penalty. That works really well. We don't have to put that much other sanctions. This mechanism auto-regulates very well, where it's an amount per product that needs to be recollected to reach the rate. So the penalties climb very quickly. It's a sharp tool. We'll probably talk about it later if people have questions about it. So coming back to PPP, there's no bonus malus system in that system. It's only recovery rates, reclamation rates, and if you don't meet them, you need to do a remedial plan, and those penalties are put into the program to reach the rates eventually. So that's a different types of mechanism for different types of EPR systems. It's always an evolution. I mean, we're looking at best practices. We're looking at what's doing elsewhere. We're trying some things. Like we said, it's the first version of the EPR transition. And so there you go. Just one of the topic that was really interesting and discussed in the conference is the similar situation about ICNI. In Quebec, similar thing happened where it's on pause, but it's not on pause, it's reported. So the updated timeline is on screen. Maybe it's too small, but multi-dwelling buildings were supposed to be in January 2025. They're pushed back until 2030. That's kind of the pattern for most of the different type of sectors that need to be disturbed. So the orange box there, existing collection services must be maintained, sorry, is really important because for now, even if ICNI obligations have been pushed back, in Quebec already, about 20% of ICNI receive collection services from Éco-Entreprises Québec. So that's a lot. So these services must be maintained. So we still have 20% of ICI who are targeted, but then the ministry added different timelines for health and social services, educational, with different steps. So we're going to probably talk about it during the discussion, but the goal is to give time to the industry and to the producers to put together all of the system. Transition towards EPR and circular economy. So just a quick overview. So EPR has been from municipal programs. The EPR transition for PPP has been starting since March 1st, 2025. For container refund system, we're same date, but still the glass containers come online on March 1st, 2027, and multi-layer also. For EPR existing programs, we have, like I said, a lot of effort to modernize the regulation, add incentives for eco-design, reuse, everything. But we still have action. We have new programs, vaping program that is of interest for BC also. It's been active in Quebec for a year, and it's been going well. And also products with a battery as a component, personal care, toys, tools, e-mobility. It's included in the battery program because of all the hazardous risks that we mentioned earlier in the conferences about fire alerts. So quickly, we'll talk about the circular economy because that's where we want to go. EPR systems traditionally have been very focused on recycling, but we want them to go higher in the hierarchy. So rethink and optimize resource use in general to basically get further with our resources. So that's the framework that Quebec has been looking at for circular economy. Quickly, just coming back to what I said earlier, there's legislation that has been, guideline that has been put together to put guidelines for the circular economy. Quickly, I want to jump to the law protecting consumers against planned obsolescence and promoting the durability, repairability, and maintenance of goods. A good mouthful. Basically, new regulation that's been progressively been taking effect in Quebec where planned obsolescence goods have been banned. So think about your software updates, your Amazon single-use items that break after a single use, whatever. Even if it's not single use, if it's reusable that breaks, it's not reusable. And so a guarantee of proper functioning, that's interesting also where we already have a legal warranty, but now it goes further where it's about the use of the product. And right to repair also. So now producers have the obligation to publish and give to the consumer information about the repair services and parts that are available, and that should be reasonably available. So that's always an interpretation case by case all the time. So we will wait for legal recourses and instances to see how that works. Technical norms for a universal charger for electronics. Everybody loves that. So there you go about the government circular economy roadmap that was mentioned just in that last slide has been giving results. So 130 actions by the ministry. That's more on the governmental side. I got the red stuff, the red card. I'm a soccer player. I know what that means. I need to stay in the conference. So just quickly, like BC, we've seen that our circularity has been dropping. And that has been explained by a few factors that we can go into. We have, if the presentation is given, you can go into Québec Circulaire. We have all of those reports available. Challenges and opportunities. I just wanted to show you that picture. Free riders, that's how we conceive of them in the EPR model. So we need more compliance and actions, like was mentioned by the other speakers. And funding, circular economy and eco-design is not going to be done by only one company. It's going to be done on a sectoral basis. So what's our role in the government to encourage that kind of incentive? So quickly, to end up, next steps, like I said, the transition to 4 PPP and refund deposits, reducing the costs that have been going up by fostering innovation and local options, and then using circular economy to reduce consumption, reduce resource use, and optimize resource use throughout the value chain. Thank you.